Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled is jewelry designer Arlene Altman and artist Robert Moreau. Designer Arlene Altman was born in New York and studied art and architecture at New York University and Parsons School of Design. She says none of that is interesting. I was born on Earth and studied in a schoolroom. We know there's more to Arlene than that. When did this jewelry design start?
Actually, when I was robbed in New York, I was studying architecture, and I came home one day, all my jewelry was gone. So I began to make little pictures of things, bring them to jewelers. And fortunately, I had a friend who was a Women's Wear Daily, and everything I made, she said, "That's really great. Make me one." And so before I knew it, she had quite a bit of pieces, and then she was doing a big Vogue shoot, and someone didn't show up with the jewelry, and she said, "Oh my God," and took all the jewelry off that I had made, put it on the Vogue model, shot it, and the next thing I knew, people were calling me from Elle and from Bazaar and from LA Times, and I had no store, I had no business, I was an architecture student, period.
That's great.
And suddenly I was a jewelry designer.
That's fabulous. Did you start, so you actually started with commissions?
Yes, I actually started with commissions. People just saw things on other people and said, "Make me one," and so they did, and then
we did. We had a commission. You made something for Barbra Streisand?
Yeah, I made lots of things for Barbara, lots of things for whatever different occasion may happen to have been.
And Cher?
And Cher was like the forerunner. You know, she loves innovative and interesting things, and came by and just said, "I'd like to photograph some of your things." And we just did this wonderful shoot. Harry Langdon did it. And it was just a happening. It was wonderful. It was delightful.
But how did you know what really fit Cher or fit Barbara or fit Elizabeth Taylor? You did a lot of things for Elizabeth Taylor.
It's interesting because these people who are so high in their own art forms have a very specific understanding of what's right for them. So working with them is very easy.
Is that right?
Sure, they just tell you, I think this is going to work and this is going to work and let's work on that kind of thing. They're so creative in their own fields that they really almost know what's right for them. And so the working with them is a very creative, stretching kind of experience.
Well, you do a lot of private commissions. How do people find you, Arlene? Do they just look in the book, Arlene Altman?
Well, at one time they could have done that, but now they can find me. I have just inherited a very wonderful business management firm called the R.J. Gordon Firm. And actually it is because of Richard Gordon's direction and his inspiration and his financial support that many of the things, all of the things that I've been doing in the past 8 months have been made possible.
Oh, that's great.
So it's really
I
been
think that's
a moving force in my, the most moving force in my career as of the last 9 months.
It's innovative, though, because jewelry designers don't have managers. I mean, you're usually showing a shop, or you showing, I don't know, where else? You have your own shop?
Yes, I did. I had my own shop, for 12 years on Rodeo. And having the advantage of having a high technology, really cutting edge, brilliant company, the way Richard runs, has made it possible for me not to just have one retail outlet, but in fact to be right now under contract to the Franklin Mint, which was negotiated by the Richard Gordon Company, and my very, very dear friend Carol Childs had an idea. She said, "What do you think?" We brought it over. It worked, but it wouldn't have really flown and been done professionally if not for the R.J. Gordon Company doing it with the letters and the communication, etc.
What would you do for the Franklin Mint?
Well, the Franklin Mint is going to be a big, big surprise. My friend Carol Childs had an idea.
You can't tell us?
We can't tell you, no.
Oh,
no, we can't tell you. This is something this is a surprise.
I know, and there's another surprise I don't think you're going to tell me about, the Peterson Automotive Museum.
Oh, no, that's a surprise.
Oh, it's not?
No, that's a good one.
Okay.
The Peterson is really probably one of the most exciting museums opened ever in L.A., and it has a wonderful bookshop, and they have the most beautiful cars from all over the world. And they've just commissioned me to do a series of different automobiles and gifts for the Peterson Automotive gift shop.
Are these examples?
These here are examples of the kind of thing that Arlene Altman finds in other. Arlene didn't design these.
I see.
Arlene found these and she loved these, and because I think art is art, whether someone makes it in silver or someone makes it in paper or whatever.
I see.
And I chose them to use as my displays for my collection.
I see.
But they are available for sale exclusively through the R.J. Gordon Company.
Oh, I see.
People can have them.
The other thing, as far as inspiration goes, I was going to ask you about your inspiration, but I think this is a great story on inspiration.
I love the Chrysler Building.
You love
I
it.
love the Chrysler Building.
I think a lot of artists love the Chrysler Building.
Yeah, it
And
just looked
then
like a ring to me.
What did we say?
Well, it just turned upside down and the points became diamond baguettes and diamond triangles. And actually we have a model of it here.
Oh, I have it.
We have a model of, yeah.
Right here.
This will grow up into being a diamond and beget Chrysler Building ring.
Let me hold it here, and he can see it from the side. It's all
The Guggenheim is very inspiring to me also as
the
a
Guggenheim
sculpture.
with the circles.
Yes, I see that as a bracelet.
And did you do a bracelet of that?
I'm about to do the bracelet on that. I'm in the middle of doing a bracelet on that.
One of the other things you love to work with are puzzles, tangram.
Yes, if I find them.
Puzzles and
See, with these 8 pieces, maybe we can just take these 8 pieces. These 8 pieces are able and capable of making, it's a meditation sculpture. It is also a highly evolved, like Napoleon played that, Confucius played that.
so you just make different designs?
It's called tanagram. And with these 7 pieces, it's actually
get another
possible.
piece.
There you go. It's actually possible to make maybe hundreds of designs, women, architecture, men, animals, cats.
Let me
It's
hold
just
this
a
up.
wonderfully fabulous, wonderful gift.
And so you make that in silver.
In silver and gold and platinum.
So it's an expensive gift.
Well, in silver it's not. In silver it's not. But men gravitate to this so well because it's so meditational, it's so architectural.
You did a lot of words, put together words
Yes.
and letters. What are those?
Well, I just believe that in a time when people were like really having a problem communicating, that if you made a word that said love or fun or Jap or special or favorite, and you wore it on a bracelet or on a ring or whatever, it encouraged people to have a communication and to open up and not be so uptight about each other.
And
In this collection that I just did, by the way,
I'll hold this.
Herbert Fink.
It's hard to go.
It's
hard
okay,
To
it's
get
hard
in,
to
but
see
you can
them.
See, these are all inscribed with
These are-
sayings.
They're poems.
Poems.
Like, for example, unless you love someone, nothing else makes any sense. E. Cummings. Or Rumi says, out beyond ideas of right doing and wrongdoing, there is a field. I'll meet you there.
And all of that fits on these lovely
On these little things.
That's so great. You won the De Beers Award, not
Yes.
just once, but twice.
Yeah.
Did that make a big difference in your career?
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of like it is the Academy Award of the jewelry industry,
I know.
basically.
Bravo,
Something
Arlene.
low-key like that. And what it does is, your piece tours the United States of America into all the different stores around the world. And it's great recognition, and also it's also served to be so that anytime I call a diamond company and I want to make a diamond commission for a client or for whatever, they're very, very happy to deal with me.
Because then their work will be shown. This is one of the winners, is that right?
This is one of the winners of the De Beers. This is
Did
diamonds.
these go together?
No, this one is not one of the. It's just a bracelet I love.
Oh, this is a bracelet. I want to show this anyway because I love the way you offset your stones.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Nothing is exactly in the middle.
So many things
And
are.
this is in onyx.
Onyx and diamond.
Okay, I'm going to show the two pieces that won. I'll put them on like this.
It's
and I'll
wonderful
put
on you,
them-
Joe. Very good.
They look good. But tell me about the materials.
That's onyx and gold and the very finest quality of diamonds.
And look how you pinpointed the diamonds on the side,
On
the
either
little
side.
studs.
I was very surprised when I won. I mean, there's so many people that enter. It was very shocking.
What kind of materials do you like to use?
I like to use any. And I mean, like, for example, this is my new collection, and the new collection has to do with being very soft and very, the rings are all
You
made from
have them
chain.
on, right, just
And here they are in chain too. And what I love is, like, for instance, this is an absolutely, utterly magnificent estate piece. And this
I
is
can
from
hold this.
Neil Lane, and we're doing. It's okay. They last forever. We're doing a collaborative. I believe that art is art, whether it's from the ancient 40s or whether it's from the like right here. I'm wearing a chain of the 20s and platinum and diamonds with a marble and a platinum cross, which I made. So because I made this in this era and this was made in the 20s, somehow the blend of the different arts, when they're fine, work wonderfully together.
And you said marble? A regular
I
puri?
said
Is it a puri?
It's a puri. A puri with colored diamonds.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's just it's a wonderful irreverence to material.
So you mix all kinds of materials.
Platinum and diamonds, marbles. I think it's interesting. It's kind of...
You gave me a diamond ring once, and I'm wearing the diamond ring. It's about, how many, 2 points?
It's 10 points.
Oh, it's 10 points.
Right.
But she has a magnifying glass on it, so it makes it much bigger. And we also have, I think this is great.
That's our new boxes. It's a box for the new collection. It lights up.
You open it and it lights up.
Yeah.
And there's the magnifying ring.
And this is a ring which I think is kind of special because it's that same use of
there's your marble.
the common everyday marble.
Your marble with diamond studs on the side.
Diamonds and rose gold.
It's fabulous. Before we leave, I want to be sure and get into this because I think the wonderful thing that you talked about was creating a palette. And the idea of creating a palette with stones and minerals and all kinds of materials.
Well, like
So
rock crystal is the sky. Onyx is
you
the
talk
night.
about. Let's talk about day
Day is onyx. Day is rock crystal.
and night
Night is onyx.
and earth.
Earth is green. Earth is cornelian, green malachite. Just like a palette, you know.
Sun. I want to go through all of them because I
Okay.
think it's so great.
The sun is simply a yellow diamond, a canary yellow diamond,
yes.
a citrine, a fire opal.
The moon
The moon is a white diamond, of course.
and the sea.
The sea is blue aquamarine, blue sapphire, blue diamonds.
Blue marbles.
Blue marbles, there you go. Blue marbles, absolutely.
And the ocean.
And the ocean is all the wonderful colors that we have in sapphires. And I've made pieces that represent this, like a piece that has the moon and the stars and the sun with all those colors.
And the flowers.
And the flowers are all the pink colors and the yellow colors and the white colors, all the most exquisite colors of the world and life.
And the other thing I think you talked about, the colors of gold. Tell us about that quickly before
Well,
we
you know
have
what?
to leave.
Because, you know, I mean, I've been looking at jewelry for a number of years. We don't go into how many. But I see yellow gold and white gold, and yellow gold and platinum and white gold and yellow gold. And so I stressed in this new collection, and I felt like a chemist. I mixed colors. So in the new collection, there's raspberry color gold, peach gold, brown gold, green gold, pink gold. And they're just so subtle, and it's so beautiful.
And it sounds so luscious. And
It's
then
luscious.
To see the palette that you're going to mix with it, I can't wait.
It's just, I think it's time to have another resurgence into the gold and add colors to it.
And now we have a new time. Our time is up.
Okay. Okay.
So thank you, Arlene.
Thank you.
Thanks to
A
Arlene
pleasure.
Altman. And don't go away because Robert Moreau will be back on the set with us. These are his paintings with us.
Thank you.
I'm Joan Quinn, and we are surrounded on the set by work of the artist Robert Moreau. Robert was born in 1964 in Massachusetts. After a brief stab at aeronautical engineering, he joined the Army, served his 2 years, and moved to LA. What were you looking for in Los Angeles?
Oh, the opportunity of big city. When I first came to town, I actually took a stab at doing stand-up comedy. And
You
improv.
did? Weren't you
did.
too nervous?
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I was, and was not very good at it. So it was a childhood fantasy that I had to exercise out of my system.
Usually people come to Los Angeles or Hollywood to be stars. Were you thinking of that in any way other than stand-up comedy?
Yeah, I guess so. I knew ultimately that I would fall back on the art if this didn't work, but it was something I just really wanted to try, so I'd never have to say, you know, I wish I would have.
How could you fall back on the art when you were in aeronautical engineering?
Oh, I was clueless when I left high school. I went after that major because I liked to draw, and I liked airplanes, and I thought, here's a good job with a steady income. But after showing up for the first calculus class and physics class and chemistry class, I realized I'd stick to just the drawing.
I
I'd
see.
do better.
So you came out, you got a Bachelor of Fine Arts from Otis Parsons School in Los Angeles, and you had some really terrific teachers there.
Yeah, I did, definitely.
Did they influence your work in any way?
It's funny, I resisted them so much while I was there. I had a big ego, and I had a chip on my shoulder, and I was a real, watch my language, I wasn't the most pleasant student that my instructors probably had, but in retrospect, in hindsight, I realized how valuable their exposure was. I had some great instructors. Scott Greiger, who was the department chair, was very influential.
What was Scott teaching?
Well, he was a department chair,
And
so I didn't have him as an instructor, but he was an influence. He was an advisor. He was a friend.
Oh, I
he was
see.
someone who sort of took me under his wing and often took me aside and asked me what my problem was.
Did he? He's so good about that. Who
very
else?
good.
Who else
Very
did
good.
you work with there?
Joyce Lightbody, Colleen Sterrett, Gene Sturman, Rick Ogans.
Gene Sturman was a wonderful sculptor.
Mm-hmm.
Did that influence your work? I know you have buildings in your work.
You know, the thing is that I guess if most, if not all, the instructors there are working artists. So, I mean, the exposure to them is fantastic. It's invaluable.
And Colleen does sculpture as well.
Yes, Colleen does some great sculpture. Also, Renee Petropoulos.
I know Renee. She's a great colorist.
I wish I can't wait to see her next time so I can tell her all these years later that she was right, because she kept telling me bigger, bigger.
Well, it doesn't look like you got bigger. Were things smaller
See,
than this?
This was the size that I started this technique with 5 years ago, and I stayed on this size for 2 years.
Tell us what the technique is. It's called scribbleism.
Scribbleism.
Did you name it?
I did, jokingly. At the time, I was deluged with all the isms of the art world, you know, futurism, cubism, et cetera, ad nauseum. And scribbleism was sort of my poking fun at art history, the newest ism.
I see.
And the name is stuck.
But then what do you use? You use a rapidograph pen?
Rapidograph pen.
A rapidograph. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. No stock in the company. But there are high-tech fountain pens. Mix my own inks. And the work is about the process.
You put the ink in the pen?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. And some of the subtleties in the colors are made with fractions of drops of ink mixed with water.
Is it archival?
Yes.
It
The inks
is.
are light fast. The paper I use is Arches. Yeah, all my materials are archival. I make my own frames now, too.
So do you think that scribbleism actually is fine art?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. The process is almost like automatic writing. I never plan out a drawing. I never know what I'm going to do. I just start doing these patterns of squiggly lines.
I want you to show us how you do that.
All right, now
While
this,
you're talking, you can
this-
just
this'll-
start doing. You have to. I think if can you do it this way?
Can I do it this way?
Can you
Not
do it?
Not exactly my.
No, we'll do it the
Wait,
way it's
is that
easiest
okay?
for you.
Well, what it is basically is just I start with a meandering line that goes back and forth and grows. And I'm not really thinking about what it is I'm making. I'm just concentrating on the technique.
Is it graffiti?
No, I wouldn't call it graffiti because it has no forethought. There's, I don't know what's going to come out.
Well, when Keith Haring went and did things, he went and just like made a hit and painted on whatever happened to be there at the time. I don't know if he had any forethought in what he was going to do. But you're not making a hit on the outside, you're making a hit on the inside.
I'm not sure I understand.
He would just go to something and do something spontaneously. And you're in a way saying that your squiggles turn out in a spontaneous way as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. What happens is the shape grows, and either the color or the shape or the negative shape around the image will trigger something. Sort of like a Rorschach ink blot test, where you look at it and say, oh, I see a butterfly, and then you pull it out.
So if you did a body of work, it wouldn't, you couldn't do a body of work about a certain thought or a certain idea.
No, it's sort of an ongoing autobiography. It's just whatever's happening in my life at the time comes out in the piece.
I see. And I think these are really interesting because you use these as invitations.
My show announcements.
The announcement is on the back, and then...
And I do a limited edition, numbered and signed, and then I mail them out as my announcements.
You just put them in the mail?
Absolutely.
Because this one is 15 out of 200.
Right.
This one's 47 out of 50. Are they always in black and white?
Yes, yes. And it's interesting because I never meant for people really to collect them, but that's what's been happening.
Did they get damaged in the mail?
Oh yes, and I love that. That's my own version of planned obsolescence. Is that I can always count on the U.S. Post Office to destroy a good percentage of them at random, and I never know which ones will survive and which ones won't.
And they're on really fine paper.
Actually, no, the paper is just cardstock.
But just with the decollage, is that?
Right, I rip the edges.
Oh, well, there's another part of your hand involved in it, because you can see that it's something more than just an invitation that goes in the mail.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, when you send these invitations, Robert, where do you show? Do you show at galleries?
I'm doing right now what's called alternative spaces, which is very hot right now in LA. Coffee houses, restaurants, I've shown in bars. And what I've discovered basically is any place that has good walls and decent lighting is a place that you can have a show.
Why do you think there was such a stigma against that? I mean, I think our artists always say, oh, I'm not going to show in a restaurant, or I'm not going to show in a bar like you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is you have to start somewhere. And with the galleries, if you don't have an in with them, if you don't know someone, a connection, you're not going to get in with them. I tried that. When I had developed...
How would you try it? How would you do it?
I packed up work in a portfolio, tucked it under my arm, and went knocking on doors. And I had so much rejection that, I mean, it was horrible.
Worse than an actor.
Oh, it was absolutely horrible. 9 out of 10 times they wouldn't give me the time of day. They wouldn't look at my work. Yeah. And I got the same spiel all the time, submit slides, and they would point to a stack, you know, this month's submissions. Finally, I talked to a woman who owned a gallery out in Santa Monica, and she was wonderful. It was the first time that somebody really sat down and talked with me. I showed her the work, she looked at it, she said, this is fabulous, I love this work, it's great. I said, well, when is my show? She said, well, I can't give you a show. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, why? She said, well, this gallery has an overhead of $10,000 a month. Mm-hmm. They must sell $10,000 of artwork a month to survive. $5,000 would go to the artist, and then $5,000 covers her costs and her profit from it. She said, you don't have a following. Who's going to come to your show? The gallery isn't going to bring people there. The artist has to have a following. So when you start the restaurants and the coffee houses and you invite your friends and you meet new people from those places, you get them on your mailing list, and it grows and grows and grows until finally you have a reputation and a following.
I think that's just the way things have to go right now, and I think it's a wonderful thing for you to tell our viewers, because there's so many artists out there looking for their break, and the break is hard to get.
Yeah.
Tell us before we leave, let's talk about the piece behind you.
It's titled Maya Optics. It's sort of a pun on myoptics, nearsightedness, because of the intricacy of the work. Maya, the concept, the Hindu concept that all is illusion in the world.
I see that.
And also my optics, my vision of seeing it. So it's sort of triple entendre, I guess.
Oops, I think you lost your mic. Yeah.
The imagery that's come out in it is what's going on in my life at the time. You see there's a little profile of a Somalian baby. They were very big in the news at the time, and it came out in the work.
Just as you're scribbling,
right.
Just as you're making your scribbles.
I'm looking for the shape. I'm looking for what that is. You know, every time I take a break to flex my hand, I stare at it. What is it?
I see.
The submarine over here, there was a program on Discovery that was going on at the time called Submarine Sharks of the Deep or something like that, and that just came out in it.
So how long would a drawing like this take?
This drawing is 6 to 8 weeks.
So it's
for
a
drawing like
long
that.
process.
Oh, yeah.
Do you work on other things at the same time?
I've begun working that way.
Would you be working on, say, this piece behind me that looks very Egyptian and...
Now, actually, I'm working on 5 drawings right now. Yeah, and I've discovered it's a much better way of working, because in the past I used to work on 1 drawing at a time, and I would get to a point that I just didn't know what to do next. I couldn't see it, and it would just frustrate the hell out of me, but I would still trudge on with it. And now I've learned that I can now put that drawing aside and go to drawing number 2, and then continue fresh with that one. So it flows a lot more easily.
And I think that's what we learned today. We've asked you one question and you've answered it, and we've asked you another, and our time is all up. You've answered our questions very well. Thanks, Robert, for being with us today.
A pleasure being here.
And thanks for being with us on the Joan Quinn Profiles. You'll see more of Robert's work, I'm sure, everywhere you go to these alternative spaces that he was talking about in Los Angeles, and all over probably. Our New York viewers can see it, and Sacramento, everywhere else. Keep writing to us at 520 South Grand, and we'll see you next time on the Joan Quinn Profiles.